As a relationship coach and a family coach, I like to see people thrive, especially in their relationships and their marriages. I think it's our duty to bring out the best in people and make families work. Why? Because this is really something that's beneficial to our society, our community. Not only that, but our kids get to grow up in an environment where they can thrive. Now, one of the things that's concerning is that the number one cause of divorce for a lot of people are many, but the ones that kind of catch my eye are infidelity, substance abuse, and of course, financial issues. That could bring a bunch of stressors, anxiety, and a lot of things that are negative to a relationship. We don't want that. On the contrary, what we want is to be able to bring you people that are going to talk to you guys about how to manage those stressors and how to make your relationship work. Today's guests, we have Jackie and we have Edgar, and they have a very successful business, but it wasn't always like that. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and talk a little bit about what they do. And the title of this whole podcast is going to be Family, Finances, and Freedom, because what we want to do is give you ideas on how to create that freedom with your family so that they can enjoy you too and you can enjoy them. Those are very vital things in life, and that is living life. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us. Wow. Yeah.
How's everything going for you guys?
Well, we're there and we're living, we're breathing, and we woke up today. So that's already a win.
I like that. I like that you're saying that because that's gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yep. How important is gratitude for you guys as a family, as a couple?
You know, for us, it's everything. You know, we're very, you know, and I think kind of like you mentioned, there's things that happen in life, and you grow and you develop that. For us, gratitude, we're just happy and excited to be alive every single day and bring something new. Like I said, not only to our community, but even to ourselves and our family. You know, just we're very grateful for all that.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yes.
And when it comes to you know, the family and, you know, the activities, I know you guys are really active with what you guys are doing. And I know that you guys are really dedicated to your careers. How does that come to be?
You know, the dedicating ourselves to our career, it has to come hand in hand with every pillar of our lives. So to be successful in our career, we have to be successful with the kids. With that's just the number one
domino effect.
We have to be in line with God, and I think, you know, that's something spiritual in our lives that we have to be aligned with our parents, because we still have our parents, with friends, you know, that we have long relationships with all that intact. That's how you can develop a successful business. So I love to go by the motto, God, family, business, just in that order. And for years I've been following it. And if I just follow that structure, it aligns me with where I'm at today, or where we are at today.
What a good ethic. That is so awesome.
Yes.
Edgar, what could you piggyback on what Jackie just said right now? Because she said a lot.
Yeah, you know, and it hits that way home. Like I said, we literally have it. It's embedded. It's part of even our core values in our business. So we follow that. Not that we're a cult and tell you that's what you gotta follow, but it definitely follows in our values. Like just like what Jackie said, it's about having that support system. Really, that's what family really revolves for us, and that goes from Jackie embedding that in me, myself being aligned with her, and teaching it to our kids at a very young age. Like, look, this is what mom and dad are doing. This is why we're doing it. We're gonna make a goal, and we're gonna go and accomplish it together. If mom and dad can't do that, then we can take those steps with you. And we want to know what your goals are, so that we can also help you out and be there for you, give you the support, you know, spiritually, and be there hand in hand with you. So it's really amazing, because they're all doing different little things, and you get to see it, but they're following our same model. And so it just makes it again, you know, the gratitude towards it, and it makes it a whole lot funner.
The best example is your example, for sure.
For sure.
So if you guys are getting along well, if you guys are communicating well, if your goals are clear, and if you have a mission and vision statement in your family, which I know you guys probably do, I'd like for you guys to talk about that a little bit, then you're heading towards the right direction, right?
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about how you got started with your business.
So with my, so this is how it goes. Edgar graduated from New Mexico State University. And during that time, when I was 20, I actually wanted to be a lawyer and I wanted to do criminal justice. And so a friend of my brother said, you should get into the sheriff's department first. And so I said, the sheriff's department, I was a cheerleader, like high ponytail, red lipstick, always dressed up, in dresses and stuff. And I said, what am I going to do at the sheriff's department? I can't wear the uniform. And he said, no, just so that you could get an idea, start at the detention facility. So I tried out and I made it, it was like with these guys, like it was just like maybe 4 girls there and I was only 20. I made the academy, and so I joined the sheriff's department during that time. From 20 to 25 years old, I couldn't do it anymore because at the same time, me and him were starting our family. So it was very hard for me to do shift work and raise my family. So what I did is I just said, you know what, I have to do something that's me. So I ended up leaving the sheriff's department, which he was like, oh my goodness, like, you're going to leave and, real estate doesn't pay you. Like, what's going on? You're not going to get paid for 30 days, 60 days. And so he's like, okay, just do it.
Yeah.
So I jumped into the real estate academy and I joined when the bubble bursted. It crashed. I don't know if you remember 2008.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes, that was.
It was just so messy. It was sloppy. And I got in and, I never can forget the professor saying only 3 of you will make it out of 50 of you in the classroom. And I was like, oh my gosh. It's not going to be me.
And
like,
you guys
what am I
married
going to
at
do?
this time.
Yeah, very young. Young
very
married.
young. We've been together. Yeah, I was 20.
Yeah, we're on baby number 2, and and so
How long have you guys been married?
How long? 22?
So we got married in 2006, officially married, but we've been together now. This would be year 23. So it's been fun.
Congratulations to that. Quite the accomplishment. That's good.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, can you imagine, like, so we went from, so I was in my last year of college, the football was out of the way, and I said, hey, I'm going to just finish off this school and I'm going to be able to get hired by all these great top Fortune 500 companies. I'm ready to come work the corporate life and that kind of deal. And then reality hits, right? You never worked, you never had any work experience or anything like that. All of a sudden, she was our income, like security wise, we're like, you're a sheriff and you're going to work all these years. You're going to retire with a pension and all this great stuff. And don't get me wrong, that is a phenomenal career to follow. And then for me, it was very, it hit home because my sister, she was a detention officer, same title. If I couldn't have picked a better wife picture, because my sister was a big role model for me, right? Yes. So when I found out, hey, you want to do that too, that's awesome. Like, this is going to be great. But then reality sets in, growing up a young family, we had kids. The holidays were always the toughest, right? Because she had to work. Christmas Day, we're opening gifts. She's getting ready to go and see who was being bad and is going downtown. Kind of.
It works. It works.
I had to ask permission to go have my daughter's birthday parties, or if they were sick, it was an issue. And I told myself, I can't do this anymore.
Yes.
I cannot allow somebody to tell me when, where, how to show up for my kids and for my family.
That's stressful.
So I say I can't do it. Yeah. So I went and I resigned after 5 years, went cold turkey, got into real estate. Second, third year, I was going to quit. It was just too much. I was like, this is not what I expected. Like, this is awful. Yeah. Like, how come nobody's calling me to sell them a home? I think I had like 2 deals, like 2 or 3 deals in the first 2 years.
And that was mom and
it was like mom and friend. One friend and somebody. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is too hard. So I was going to quit. It was, I think I went and got a T-Mobile job and sold phones for like a year. So that. It was tough for me.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that. One of the things that that in the introduction when we talked about the divorce rates going up, and one of the reasons being financial problems, I can recall when I first got married that it was difficult at the beginning. Sometimes I had to really get creative with how I was going to maneuver my finances, and that was very stressful.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anxiety up the roof.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little on the sad and depressed side because I didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel. So I really had to dig deep within inside of me, and I could have easily gone to the doctor and gotten medications for anxiety. That's how crazy it was.
Correct.
But I'm not the only one that was living that. I'm sure that there was a lot of people, because everything trickles down.
Yeah.
Like anxiety levels go up, communication style just goes out the door. You're having problems at home and communicating with the wife and with the kids. You're irritable. So that stuff spirals and it affects the kids.
100%.
Can you guys tell us a little bit about, some of the difficulties you guys faced?
Yeah. I'll actually say the difficulty that we had when I left the sheriff's office and then, I was selling phones at T-Mobile, and he was doing really good at work. And from one day to the next, I was actually having my son, Joshua, and he got let go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got let go. But he comes home and he has like this face on him as I'm cooking, and I'm just like, hey, what's wrong? Are you okay? What's going on? And he's like, I have to talk to you. I said, well, what is it? I'm already 8 months pregnant. And he's like, they let me go, and he was now our income, mine was there, but it was not like his income. And, I was like, what in the world are we going to do? Like, I have my babies, 3 girls, and then my boy. And, I think you want to say the story, how you failed to tell me that we were about to lose our house. And we were like 2-3 months behind on the mortgage.
And you didn't know this?
I did not know because he was
Protecting you.
If that's what you want to call it in a man's mind,
Were
right?
you protecting her?
That was the goal, right? I mean, and that's what you do. I mean, I guess, growing up, you see, my father, I always saw him work day in and day out, Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday, sometimes Sunday. And so that was his way of always like, I may not be able to go to your games. I may not be able to go and do this, but I'm always going to respond to work. So that was something that was always embedded to me. Once you start something, you got to finish it. And I was just trying to find a solution, trying to find to a huge problem. And I remember I was working out on the west side and driving all the way home, going through Trans Mountain, just weird thoughts, right? That you're just like, what do I do? How am I going to tell this? And I just remembered the biggest thing we had just opened up. So she's always been very entrepreneurial. We'll get into it, I'm sure. She had just opened up one of those great ideas where we opened up a hair salon. And that hair salon, our vision was to be able to help others, amongst creating a business, but help others, be employed, have some security, have their job. Now I had to come in and tell them, like, I don't even know how I'm going to pay for this place. You know what I mean? And it was brand new. It was exciting. But of course, you always open up a business because you're going to be successful, not because it's going to shut down in a few years. No. But so we, I was literally juggling money back and forth, trying to pay for the shop's rent, trying to pay for this, for our home. And
sometimes did you feel that you were kind of suffering in silence? Like you wanted to find solutions. You wanted to share this information with Jackie, but you knew at the same time that if you were to share this information with her, that she could probably, get a little more anxious and sometimes, in turn create some sort of roadblock along your ways because we're human. That's what happens. Sometimes it could be difficult to try to break that news to our significant other because, hey, I don't have the money to pay the car or the mortgage. How do I do it? Right. So how did you wrestle with that? If we're being vulnerable, or it's still something that has to get worked on a daily basis because it's just the way it's embedded in me, right? To take on certain things that I don't want to disappoint her for whatever reason.
and it is a challenge. And it goes back to, you having to find the key thing for Jackie, and something that she's always told me is just the communication. You got to communicate it, good, bad, or ugly. We can't just celebrate the good things. Like, and so that's always the tough part. Easier said than done. But it is something like during that time, I can honestly tell you that it was very difficult, because you put the burden on you. Like, I failed my family, and because of that, there's that challenge, and you feel lonely.
Did you ever feel like quitting?
Oh yeah. I mean, let's call it for what it is. I get up, and I'm a very optimistic person. Things are going to get, the good old, we're going to be fine. And at the end of the day, we are. But during those times, it don't feel like that. And, you can stay up late at night. You can be the first one up, just trying to figure and juggle things around. But yeah,
it affects everything. It affects your sleeping patterns.
Yes.
It affects even getting motivated to go to the gym. As it is, that's tough to do. And then all of a sudden you're faced with these issues that just leave you without energy. It's like an energy vampire situation. And then all of a sudden things begin to collapse little by little. We have to find a way to get out. Now, what I've noticed about you guys is that Jackie is the spark plug. She is
100%
very energetic. She's got a lot of positive in her.
Yeah.
It's really cool. How'd you become that way, Jackie? And were you always like that?
I think I was always like that. A lot of my family will say I was the spark plug when I was little. I was the loud one. I was the wanted to do the fun things, the risky things. And I was just always that little girl. In my life, I've seen a lot of pivots, with when I was, younger with my mom. She sought divorce because she was in an abusive marriage, and we saw it as little kids. And seeing her work so hard for us, being even, living even in a small duplex, and, having to ask for government money, like for food, for whatever. Yeah. I saw how hard she worked for us. And she was my pride and joy to live just like her through anything.
Can you see that? I mean, wow. You just said a lot of stuff that was extremely important. And, that example that you gave, it's so powerful because of the fact that, right now it's like, all right, so I'm going through a bunch of stuff. I can just go and get some medication and make it go away. But when we think of our, mom and dad or grandparents having to go through this, and then not having anyone to talk to about it,
right,
and then just trying to put this, front that everything is going to be okay. At the same time, you close the door at the end of the day and you're like, how am I going to do this? Right.
Correct.
So thank you for sharing that.
Yes. And I think there's a lot of doors that, were closed on me. I was 15 and pregnant when I had my daughter. She's the 27-year-old. So that taught me a lot in life too. I was, I was a varsity cheerleader. I had everything good. All my life, I've had everything good until boom, one thing will knock me not over. It will knock me to the ground. So I've always gained the power to switch it off and say, I'm not going to allow myself to fail. And I'm going to just find a solution. And I've always been that person. So it goes back to when, being married, this is what I tell my husband all the time. When he told me we were foreclosing on that home, the best thing that was the best thing he could have done was tell me, because I worked that day endlessly to find a renter for our house. Thanks to God. I'm always gonna give my praise to God. And it was a military gentleman. He gave me the first deposit, the last, and the first month's rent. And it was enough to get me out of foreclosure to keep it going. I packed my whole life and my kids, and I moved to my mom's for 3 years. And that was probably the difficult phase of my life, because I had to let my house go to somebody else. But hey, I didn't get foreclosed on. So I found a solution. So in life, you cannot, especially when you're married, you cannot stay silent. You cannot, because this other person that you married hand in hand, that's why you're married. You're partners. So you have to find solutions together. you're never alone. You're only alone if you put yourself in a corner alone to think about having to handle the bills alone, having to handle life alone. Then you're not a couple. You're not a couple. If you can't trust the wife, if you can't put your fears and tell her and not be that silent husband, you are going to find solution because you have each other. So I hope that
Thank you. Thank you for talking about that, because it's a breath of fresh air to see that you're communicating that, and to see that, hey, you know what? My significant other has my back 100%. I feel so good, instead of them, kind of well, what are you going to do? How are you going to solve the situation, or vice versa? The fact that you merged with your husband and you were able to find a solution, that is golden.
Yeah.
Now, I could see why you guys are so successful. You guys complement each other very well, and that's a very good thing. We have to do that in life. We have to look at our strengths and weaknesses. Now, let me ask you guys this question. Both of you guys are highly successful, and both of you guys are doing well. And do you guys find it a little difficult sometimes to see who calls the shots, or how do you find that equilibrium? Because, sometimes for us guys, I see Jackie, and she's doing all kinds of stuff, and Edgar's looking at her and it's like, wow, I admire her. But at the same time, there's got to be, a dynamic there that works for the both of you.
You just hit it on the bell. Ring, 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 ring.
I like that. That's cool.
Yes. There is a lot of, you're at a 10, you need to come to a 5 because you are stressing me out. And I get in trouble sometimes, right? Because I'm not, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to buy this house. I want to buy that house. And he's like, wait a minute. I'm barely trying to, get these Airbnbs taken off, or this Airbnb doesn't have many days that are being rented. Like calm down, And so, I can let you take over for there because I said the last part.
No, it's you got to have that. It's a specific. Special dynamic that you had to have, and it's like any relationship or business relationship that you're gonna go into, and this is one that's always fun with me and Jackie, because yes, we're successful in different areas, and there's just certain areas where you're like, hey, you know what, this is your specialty, and that's what's really cool. And I think that's probably one of the things I'm most thankful and grateful in our business, is that I don't have a problem going and telling, hey, Jackie, you know what, I don't know how to get this one closed or headed in the right direction. Let me get your thoughts on it. And she'll give it to me. And then all of a sudden it was like the most simplest little thing, but it's just having that conversation with her and letting her understand. But yeah, you said it, and it takes, I always tell people, it takes a special role for, and not just because it's a man-woman thing here, but it just in general, for you to be able to step back and be like, let her do her thing, because that's what she does really well. I'd be a fool if I didn't allow her to really shine, because that's her biggest asset. And that's what allows me to be successful, because I just go there and be like, kind of like your PR person, right? You're like, hey, don't say that. Say it a little different. And so that's kind of where I've been for her. I've accepted that role and I've taken it on because I do it well. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't take that role any weaker. And some other men or some other people might see it as, oh no, I could never allow that to happen in our business or in any relation, because I have to be the one to do this. For me, it's always been like, no, it's the right move. It's a lot better idea than I had in mind. So I'm gonna harness it, and I want to embellish that and make sure that it does come to fruition for her and for us at the end of the day.
Nice, thank you for that, Jackie. How do you get started? How do you get your day started, mental health wise? Why is that important for you?
It's very important, and I think every person should be doing it in life. Every single person is you get up being grateful for that one day, because we just live a day at a time. And I think people forget, especially with how the world is changing. I try to teach my kids this all the time, is you have to give yourself grace every single morning. I'm alive. I've opened my eyes. My feet are hitting the pavement today. I'm able to shower. I have warm water. I have coffee that I can make. All my kids are breathing right now. They're healthy. I'm healthy. I'm cancer-free right now. I'm able to wake up and either influence others or move others or, whatever it is. So
I know that you had mentioned you didn't really, and I know I didn't want to touch a subject, but you're a cancer survivor.
So I'm a cancer survivor. Last 2023, my spleen ruptured out of nowhere. I didn't even know we had a spleen in our body, and it ruptured, but it was a meaning to find a mass that was sitting on my kidney, and I was stage 1. It was an aggressive cancer. So if my spleen would have never ruptured, we would have never found the cancer. So basically 2024 would have been my stage 3-4 year of nothing they could do, just chemo, radiation, and then you're out, you're done, you're expired, you go to heaven.
Yes.
So that really empowered my thinking.
Mm-hmm.
What if that was my last year? What if it was my last day? So you have to think about life like that every day. And to have that stress, to have all of that, you just have to give yourself grace, even if it's you're not living life 100% right now.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
So give yourself grace and thank God spiritually. Then you can do some simple meditations on your spirit or, all around you on YouTube. I go on YouTube. I listen 5 to 7 minutes. I do keep my mind active with books. I probably have read almost, like 80% of your books. So
nice.
Yeah. I love that
Good
you
choice.
read the same. And then from there, I do some exercise for my mental health, not just physically. So I hope people can understand that. Working out is, we look good, we want to look good, but it's also for your mind.
Absolutely.
Put that first. And then you just have a bright day to go and serve others at work.
Thank you for sharing that. Believe it or not, we're at our
That's it.
second minute, I believe.
Okay.
2 minutes till we wrap up. Before we do that, for those struggling financially, what kind of advice do you guys have for them?
When you're struggling financially, I would sit down, either you alone or with your partner, and it has to be time. You have to set a day for it. If you could set a time to go eat, if you could set a time to go mingle or whatever it is, or sit down to watch Netflix, you turn it off, you get inside of a room, and if you go to war with it, you put all your finances in order. You're going to see what you're bringing in on a daily basis or a daily week or whatever it is. And you're going to try to attack your smallest debts, figure that out. And then, you know what? It's okay if you have to stay home for a month, 2 months, 5 months, a year. It does not matter. Don't get, distracted by your friends, by your family on what they have, because like you said, that's what they're showing on social media. We don't know what they're struggling with at home.
Exactly.
So just focus on you and get that debt out of the way. And I think you're going to fly high.
Thank you guys.
No.
I appreciate you guys being on the show. Really. This has been a very awesome experience with both of you guys. Yes. And this is going to help a lot of couples really find solutions and be grateful. Gratitude, I think, is the big message here.
Yep.
But at the same time, I think it's also the fact that, we put our families very near and dear to us and give them that example. That's the best part.
Yes.
Guys, I want to thank you guys for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
And Edgar from Jackie Stevens. And you could find them online. We're gonna go ahead and link all their information just in the event that you guys have any questions. And if you guys want to follow them also, if you guys need a house, they're gonna hook you guys up as well.
Yes.
Yes.
So thank you guys for being on the show. Guys, we'll see you next week.